Hello and welcome to Accessible Globe TV, where today our program is in honour of Queen Elizabeth II. On watching Her Majesty's funeral last night, and way into the early hours of this morning actually here in Australia, I was reminded again of the incredible tradition, the pomp, the ceremony that only the British can do. And that reminded me again, further, of when I went to London, when I visited some of these places that are steeped in tradition. One of those was the Horse Guards Museum. When I first got there, I thought, this ceremony, this tradition, it's not going to impress me. But all of a sudden, I found myself immersed, sucked in, if you like, to the tradition, to the history of the moment. And I found it quite moving. I was very privileged to get to speak to Malcolm Westwood at the Horse Guards Museum. And since it was Her Majesty's Horse Guards, I thought that even though I look very, very young in this video, we'd replay it and you could have a look at my visit to the Horse Guards Museum.
We are in the Household Cavalry Museum, which for me is really exciting because I had a little Household Cavalry doll from my grandmother when I was a very little boy. And it is wonderful to be here. We have Mr. Martin Westwood with us today. Hi Martin, how you doing?
Good to see you, Rod. Yeah.
And he knows everything there is to know about this museum.
Yeah. Okay, well let's just start by saying you're on the original cobblestones, the stables here. 1753 this building was erected, and the exhibition starts here with quite a lot about the modern household cavalry. You've got the uniforms here, you've got some of the kit and some of the polishes and brushes and things that they need to get themselves up to the supreme quality that they aim for in terms of presentation. And
people come here with the perception that this is and I mean this with all respect, it's a plaything, it's a tourist thing, it's
yes.
Nothing like that at all.
No, it isn't though. It's a very serious background to it, and the kind of detail and the pursuit of excellence which the mounted regiment go to is all about producing great battlefield soldiers.
Yes.
You know, because detail on the battlefield is life-saving, frankly.
Yes.
So you're looking here at the senior regiments of the British Army. They're the elite, really.
So how do you balance the tourism with the actuality of what the job is?
Well, actually, this I suppose you can call the museum a tourist attraction or a visitor attraction, but the main building here, Horse Guards, is actually a fully functioning military establishment.
Yes.
You know, the army has a certain mystique and prestige, and particularly the household cavalry, which is about as good as it gets. And so, I mean, we're not short of recruits, to be honest, Rod. There's a regular inflow.
And they take the ceremony of it all very seriously.
Yes, that's a serious part of the training. When the soldiers join the regiment, 5 out of 6 of them can't ride a horse.
Wow.
But within 6 months, they're very competent horsemen. They have to be, because you've seen what they
I
have to
understand,
do.
yes.
They have to do. And so, I mean, when the museum was envisioned, you know, until then, this was used by the soldiers as a stables.
Wow.
So probably 2003, something like that.
Wow.
But what you see now is this lovely big glass screen behind you, so you can look through that and you can see what's going on the other side. You're getting through those 18th century spaces well.
Yes, they were very accessible in the 18th century.
Yeah. The household cavalry story begins really with Charles II.
Okay.
And all the regiments that make up the household cavalry now, that's the Life Guards, the Blues or the Royal Horse Guards, and the Royal Dragoons, were all founded by that gentleman, Charles II.
Wow.
You know, the
Kind of got a combination there of the Horse Guards hat and the
Yes.
and the
well,
winter hats
they
or
go
whatever.
through all these fashion things, you know, they look a bit like a Roman centurion or Roman general. But mainly, I mean, the thing on the top, of course, is to stop somebody slicing your head. That helmet there was worn by Robert Hill, who is the commander of the Royal Horse Guards at Waterloo, and he's an important character. He's one of 3 brothers who represented that battle, as were all the regiments that make up the current household cavalry. There were 6 eagles taken during the Napoleonic Wars. That's one of them. That was captured by the Blues again at Waterloo. It's the French 150th Foot Regiment, who were part of a massive attack which Napoleon launched at Wellington Centre. Now, the interesting thing is that cavalry charge was blown on that bugle there. Do you see it at the back of the case there?
I can't, but I'm going to have a look.
And that was blown
Yes, I can.
by a 16-year-old boy called John Edwards, and he'd been in the regiment since the age of 9.
Now that's something for a disability program. There's one of the earliest prosthetic legs.
It's indeed. And it's called a clapper leg because it's got a ball joint in the knee. Once they'd amputated his leg, he said, "Bring me my leg back so I'll make sure you've done the right thing." This centerpiece here, this big silver piece, has an interesting story. When you leave the mess as an officer, you buy a piece of silver for the mess. It's a tradition.
You've got the changing of the guards at Buckingham Palace.
Yes.
But this is much more intimate.
Yes, it is, yes.
Much more, and particularly if you're in a wheelchair, you're not going to get all the people in front of you and stuff.
No,
You
well,
can
that's true.
Right to the front and really
Yes,
see.
Yes, I mean, the changing of the guard at Buckingham Palace, because the royal residence has become very famous, but on a busy day you will struggle to see much there, frankly.
And if you're in a wheelchair,
very
anyway.
little. But if you're up this end here, you can.
I mean, you can almost touch them as
Couple
they go
hundred.
by.
Yes, you can. No, you can, and not a lot of people know it. That it
And
takes place.
it's not known enough.
No, it's not.
So come here and do it. Here we are back in the unused stable section. I am really happy with the accessibility. This is an old building. Of course, there's some cobblestones and so on. This was a stable, and I thought getting around in a wheelchair would be very difficult. In my electric, it has been a breeze. With a manual, as long as you've got big front casters or a good helper, you're not going to have any problem at all. The access through the doors is wide enough for this beast, so it's going to fit anything. And they have made sure that wherever you go, you can get around. Very easy, and such history and so informative, and honestly, a real surprise for me. We're back here again. We've heard all about them from Martin. You know why this guy's sitting on the horse, because he turned out resplendently this morning. He's done the job well, and the reward is to be out here with us good people. Some of my friends would say that's not really a reward, but I'm very happy he's here, and we've been happy to be here. This has been a real surprise for me. I expected it to be a little bit of a stilted museum. It is alive with history, and it is just a wonderful, wonderful place to visit.
Well, that was my visit to the Horse Guards, and I don't believe I'll ever forget it. I really, really enjoyed it. The last part there, in front of the guard with the horse, we'd been told that the people that were given the job of being on guard outside the Horse Guards Museum, Horse Guards Barracks, if you like, were the people who had turned out best for inspection that morning. I was amazed at how a lot of people who were visiting weren't really showing these wonderful people proper respect. So when we did film in front of the horse, I did ask the guard his permission to film him, and of course he can't speak to me, but I got the tiniest, almost imperceivable nod, which gave me permission, and I felt a lot better. I hope you enjoyed our visit to the Horse Guard many, many years ago, and it gives me an opportunity to thank from myself Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth, and to say, Your Majesty, thank you, and rest in peace.